Is it playing? So you know how it works. You just hit the button and now we're streaming live. Here we are with a new brick wall in front of us and behind us. So, Fiorella, what do you want to talk about today on this episode of the Convo Couch?
Hi, guys. Welcome to the Combo Couch. This is Pasta right here, and I'm Fiorella. I wanted to focus a little bit on the elections that are coming up on May 22nd. May 22nd is going to be Texas, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, progressives have kind of had some ups and some downs.
Yep.
But recently, Pennsylvania, as we discussed a couple days ago, had some really good results for progressives and for the Democratic Socialists in particular, and women as well. So I wanted to kind of go through some of the our revolution endorsed candidates that are going to be in the forefront for some of these races. And in Arkansas, we have in District 35, Maureen Skinner. She is a psychologist, a mother, and she's really focused on mental health. She's running for Senate. And in Georgia, we have several candidates. We have Stacey Abrams, and she's actually from Mississippi, but she's been living in Georgia, and she's running in the House of Representatives. And then she was the House Minority Leader. She's already been involved, and her focus is kind of like transportation and education as well. We also have Shelley Hutchinson from the 107th District. She is running for state representative. She's concerned with social empowerment and outreach for treatment centers and mental health as well. And we also have Sheikh Rahman.
Mm-hmm.
He's in District 5.
Running for state senate.
He's for state senate, and he's from Bangladesh, and he was actually a super delegate. He is a super delegate, right? The last one in Georgia is Lisa Ring. She's in District 1, and she was a former corrections officer, and she's also endorsed by Our Revolution. The next one we have is Kentucky, and you looked him up.
The only Our Revolution candidate in Kentucky, nationally endorsed, is a gentleman by the name of Richard Becker, and I believe he's running in the 35. Is that it?
District 35.
District 35 in Kentucky. He is a union organizer who is actually helped with a lot of janitor unions as well. Mm-hmm. So he sticks up for the SEIU. He sticks up for the working man. He's got a great platform. Everything from universal health care down on to everything we talked about, jobs that make Louisville stronger, human rights, education, a voice of our community, criminal justice system. He wants to reform that. Mm-hmm. Kentucky has a serious issue as well, and expanding retirement security, and of course, tax fairness. He understands the importance of getting the tax code right so we can't make the rich corporations even more rich.
In Texas, we have Stephen Kling in the 25th District. He's running for Senate. He's a veteran from several generations. He's been involved in special ops combat that focuses basically on protecting refugees and rebuilding communities that have been impacted by war, which is really awesome. And he also earned a Bronze Star. Then we have Jose Chitovela. Sounds Italian, but it's Spanish. In the House District 46, he's an immigration attorney. He's worked for workers' rights as well. He's the City of Austin Planning Commissioner. He's been involved in that. He was a former chair of the nonprofit Works Defense Project. And then we have Rick Trevino in District 23, San Antonio. He's a Mexican-American as well. He's a teacher, so he's really focused on education because he's seen the impact of poverty and the impact of violence that has on education. And then we have Laura Moser. You may have heard of Laura Moser before because the DCCC tried their hardest to defame her and to bring her down. But what happened is it backfired, and it actually caused her to have more increased support there is a group called Sandinistas on Facebook, and we all did a lot of fundraising for her, and she actually came in second because Texas has a weird situation, and now they're doing the runoff. So on the 22nd is when they do the runoff, and she's still there. She's a teacher. She's been a journalist. She's been an editor. She's actually a New York Times bestselling author as well, and she's a really great progressive. So she's been in on that, and it's kind of funny how the DCCC's effort to bring her down actually backfired.
Yeah, I think a lot of things that it has to do is we're talking about a lot of these people we walked on. There are revolution candidates, whatnot. In Pennsylvania was a great situation. We kind of researched a little bit of what happened in Ohio because that was a big question. What happened in Ohio? We thought that Dennis Kucinich would come out and have a great chance of winning, but he got destroyed, and that was once again because of the ties to the Obama administration, which Cordray had. And it worked for him. Again, establishment in Ohio. What's special about Pennsylvania is that the majority of the candidates had a dual endorsements of both DSA and Our Revolution. Now, we talked just recently with David Hildebrand about going forward, what can we do? He talked about a type of board or an organization where everybody gets in one room, especially in California, where you have 3 progressives who are going to obviously split the vote, but everybody gets in one room, these major groups, DSA, Our Revolution, and they pick the proper candidates for the proper seats. I think the blueprint in Pennsylvania worked. DSA, along with Our Revolution endorsements, sound ground game, and they destroyed the 4 women unseating the 4 men. Fetterman, once again, dual endorsements. It's the blueprint moving forward.
I agree. I think that, and we discussed this on other shows before, we need to bring all of the progressives together, no matter what party they feel most comfortable with, and be able to formulate some kind of coalition to get people to run for certain seats, because someone might be better for Senate, someone might be better for city council, someone might be better for, state rep, house rep, and you don't want these people to be running against each other. You want them to be running with each other. And that is, I think, the key in going into 2020, where we're going to see more of this if we get everything worked out. And so I'm definitely for forming a coalition. It sort of helped Illinois, even though they were fighting a very powerful machine, as I said before. It helped organize. They formed a progressive alliance, and they were able to support city councils and smaller seats for smaller races. It helped a lot.
Yeah, which those district seats mean a lot. Those small seats mean a lot. That's where your redistricting and your gerrymandering
and your
come into place.
Delegate votes for the national convention come in for that too.
Right, so there.
That's really, really important. People just don't understand sometimes the intricacies of that, of the different coalitions. Like the DCCC is not the DNC. It's more of like the DNC for state and local affairs. And I would definitely love to have more of a discussion on like defining these things for people, because some of you don't know, may not know, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the fact that we're not really educated on that.
But I don't have a crystal ball. And I can tell you this much, that, when June 5th comes around, because after these primaries coming up on Tuesday, when Kentucky, Georgia, Arkansas are done, Texas with their runoff of the runoff, whatever they're doing in Texas, when that's done, we have a 2-week break, and then we have our first Super Tuesday on June 5th, where you have California, New Jersey, Mississippi, Montana, New Mexico. All these places are going to come into play. On the same night that we watch in California, we'll be paying attention to what Jim Keaty's doing over there in New Jersey. That's a big one. But I think there's going to become, in other words, when Bobby Boucher's mom said, the chickens is coming home to roost, Bobby. But on June 5th, when the smoke clears, I think we're going to have a lot of progressive candidates who will not be moving forward. And it's what do we do next is the big discussion. How do we get these people in the room? How do we get DSA in California and Our Revolution and the burner groups all on the same page? They're all doing their own thing.
Yeah.
We've been to multiple groups. We're hosting an Our Revolution barn burner coming up on Tuesday the 22nd in Orange County. But how do we get all these groups together? How do we repeat the blueprint which has been given to us for Pennsylvania?
I think we just need to open up dialogue and conversation, because there's a lot of, of people, of Democrats I've spoken to that say, oh, well, this group doesn't want to talk to us. They only have one agenda, or this other group doesn't, and blah, blah, blah. And so they have these preconceived notions of people not talking to each other. But if you get people into a room together and you sit them down face to face, you often find that whatever happens online or whatever happens when emotions are running high is different than what happens when you actually sit down and open yourself to hearing what someone else has to say. Yeah. Because what I found is when I went to DSA meetings, and there's a Democratic Socialists of America club in Los Angeles, and they usually meet in MacArthur Park, Westlake Village, in that area. Mm-hmm. And they don't really have smaller chapters, like one in Hollywood, one in here. It's more of like they have an Orange County one, they have an LA one, and they're really focused on housing. They're focused on rent control. They're focused on issues with law enforcement, homelessness. And a lot of people that are Bernie-crats are focusing on homelessness, focusing on that. So if they're focusing on these issues, they would be stronger. I don't want to quote Hillary, but they would be stronger together, because it's like, and they're really good on social issues. But then I see like the Democratic clubs of Los Angeles are really good on legislation. Yeah. They're on top of SB 562. They're on top of how the election process works. Yeah. And so then you combine that with the Greens platforms of environmental justice, and then together we can have these conversations. And the problem is ego gets in the way, and then it's just about like, oh, my way is right, not your way is right.
They're so aligned on the issues, really, when you talk about it. I mean, you talk about DSA, Our Revolution, Green Party, Berners, all four of them, they're about 95% aligned on the issues. I'd say some hold certain things, certain groups will turn a blind eye to certain issues, but for the most part, they're so aligned. But it's about, like you said, learning about the legislation, learning about elections. They have to learn the election process itself. It's about winning seats. It's about winning elections. And as great as the Green Party is, Ralph Nader, all down, some of these great candidates, they haven't been able to win elections. They have to be able to turn that, that mentality of, okay, policy, people are on the side of your policy, well, now turn it into wins. Turn it into votes.
It's just an understanding of enacting these policies and these changes that you want in a way that's actually possible in the way this California government is set up. Because that is one thing that Republicans and some of these centrist Democrats, but especially Republicans, do very well, is they unite under one thing and they go for it. And they're very organized and very meticulous about organizing and fundraising and getting shit done. They really are. And that's something that we can learn from them, because right now, California especially, people love to say we're so progressive, but we're progressive in our own way and in our own factions, and
we
we're
don't
so
have
divided.
Progressive leadership. No.
Exactly. With the bigger seats that are so key, it's hard for these people to unite against one candidate, so then the votes are split, and then it's like it's a mess. It's a mess.
When these votes come in and the results come in on June 5th, don't be so upset. I think people are understanding a way forward. They're seeing it. They're seeing these major groups who are getting these endorsements moving forward. It was all over TYT about DSA, and everybody knows about Our Revolution. And if you're out here, you understand the Berners groups. Combine it with the Green Party. Let's just we're building the bench, right? They got the name recognition. If David Hildebrand doesn't win on June 5th, I know going forward he's going to have a place in politics. He's definitely proven that he belongs there. I think Allison Hartson has done that too. She's improved, obviously struggling on this campaign, not showing up for a lot of debates, whatnot. But however, I think she's progressed. And, guys like Pat Harris, he'll have a decision what he wants to do. I really think, I'm wondering, Delane Easton, too, what her next move will be if she doesn't win as well. So we're going to see a slew of these candidates, what they're going to be doing moving forward.
I do want to point out that independents are also winning seats across the country, and Our Revolution has endorsed independent candidates, including non-party preference Gail McLaughlin, and then also Kevin Kensinger in the Costa Mesa's 49th district. So I think definitely it's not even about the party at this point, as long as these progressives are following a certain kind of
policy and
platform
and,
that we all agree on, and that's what we need to focus on, and that's going to be key from here on out.
Yeah, I think so. So remember, June 5th, we got all that stuff going on. It's the first Super Tuesday, and
May 22nd for Kentucky, Arkansas, Georgia.
Yeah. And look, in the good way, what do we do is we go to our Revolution, see their endorsements. You can click to the people's website. We're learning all about Richard Becker. I'm going to try to reach out to him, see what I can do, see if you want to come on, maybe do an interview, say hi, tell us about what he's going on over there in Kentucky.
Laura Moser has a great chance.
There she goes. Laura Moser's another one. So, look out, reach out to these people. Send them $2, $3 to help them out. You know what I'm saying? Do what you can do. Learn more about their campaign.
Yeah. And did you want to talk about something else?
Not in particular. Did you?
Oh, I thought you said you wanted to talk.
No, I want to talk mostly about that. So
oh, okay.
That's the most important. I think that's what's really heating up in the news. We talked about Korea yesterday. We've been talking about, Israel and Palestine, so whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you want to know what's going on with the Mueller case and Giuliani, you can turn on Fox, CNN, or MSNBC.
Right.
They'll be talking about it all day long, but if you want to watch something good, go to RT. Coups are us. Coup are us. It's a story about America and their coups all the way from back to Guatemala to Libya, whatnot, and it's still going on. We talked about this the other day. The reason why South Korea is running their drills, first of all, South Korea has to listen to America when it comes to military, pretty much. But 100 battlecrafts, this is ridiculous. You know how much these exercises are costing? And guess who's paying for it? You. The deep state, the military-industrial complex, still got Trump by the you-know-what. They're calling the shots, and they're going to get your tax dollar. You're going to get. Why would he talk about negotiating peace? And as soon as Kim Jong-un says, hey, I will disarm, go over to South Korea, do the talks, whatnot, and you're going to still go through with the military drills that are mimicking an invasion?
It hasn't been for a while.
Come on, man. All you Trump people out there who said he's a non-interventionist, he ain't even in charge.
He's not.
Military-industrial complex.
It doesn't matter.
But they've been running it since friggin' Reagan.
Yeah, and that's why people don't vote, right? That's why people don't vote, because we don't give them a reason to. And the media, the mainstream media, doesn't help. We need to give people a reason to vote, especially the young people. They see through all this bullshit. They've grown up with the internet. There's no tricking them. There's no lying to them like it's been for years and generations, and people are waking up and they're saying like, fuck this. I don't want to be a part of this facade. I don't want to be a part of this. It doesn't matter.
Where's the mainstream media? Have they gone to one Pentagon personnel and said, what happened to that $21 million check? This is what we're talking about. Military-industrial complex, Pentagon, CIA, they're all working together. They're sucking your tax dollar dry. And at the same time, they're making people all around the country, all around the world, hate Americans. You know what I'm saying? Okay? By killing. It's ridiculous. And you have no money for education. You don't even have money for clean water. Okay? But still, we got money to drop bombs. What about the bombs that we in Syria? They didn't even kill anybody. What are they doing? Old facilities that aren't even operating anymore for years? They're just wasting your tax dollar now. They're not even hiding it. They're doing it in your face. Don't get me started. Sorry.
And another thing that I definitely wanted to just touch on really quickly before we do go is net neutrality passed the House.
Yep.
The
FCC.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the Senate. The FCC voted down to dismantle or to repeal the dismantling of net neutrality. It was 52 to 47. But it's not expected to pass the House because, once it gets to Trump, it's just not going to happen. So the what I wanted to point out about that is the fact that it's not really being talked about because I guess internet information isn't important. Because, internet, the freedom of the internet is so important to independent media, and it's so important to us, and the way things are changing with YouTube now, big channels getting in YouTube, which was supposed to be a medium for independent media. So now people like CNN are going and being a part of YouTube TV, and they're taking it over, and Facebook is deciding what's newsworthy and what's not newsworthy. And that's something that I think we as a people need to advocate for, because we are so used to having a free and open internet, and I don't think anyone really understands the consequences of not having that, because we've never not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've not known that. So it can be a very dangerous thing for the spread of information and truth.
Yeah. I don't think people understand the ramifications of it, too. They don't understand, what's going on. I mean, we know the serious ramifications. We were tying into net neutrality, because it really does. And I really thought about it. We went down and we went to the Pasadena, in East Pasadena or South Pasadena, the Homeless Resource Center. Or area which they set up, which is pretty much a mobile shower unit to
it's
help.
Called the Shower of Hope is the organization.
Shower of Hope, and it's a mobile shower unit for homeless people to take a shower, and just seeing their faces when they come out as opposed to going in. And we talked about this. This is like, Pasadena has a lot of working homeless, gym memberships where people don't go to the gym. So literally, I mean, the internet ties into this, because homeless people or people of low, wealth are trying to get a job. They need the internet to go find a job. And if you take away that resource, you're even kicking more poor people in the face even more.
Yeah. And everything's connected is the point. Like, everything's connected, and internet is one of those things that you absolutely you need in order to advance in life. And
it's education too.
It's education, because we've made education a business. So many people now get their education online. And right now, if you try to find anyone talking about, progressive candidates online, you're really not going to find very much. And that's another reason we need an open and free internet. So.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for watching this segment, and we will be back tomorrow with more news and current events. Please let us know what you want to hear about, or any comments on.
Yeah, and please hit the subscription button. All our stuff is there. All our links, anything you need to know. You can find us anywhere. Visit our Patreon. Thank you very much. We'll see you on the Convo Couch tomorrow.
Bye.